Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, just making sure everything's good for the start. Appreciate you, Daniel. Take care. Okay.
Awesome.
And then when I participate, you'll be able to show me on screen.
Yes, you'll
Oh,
be
are you talking to
visible
me,
in
Miss
chambers. Can you hear me,
Miss Kim?
Commissioner Kakari Stone?
Yes, Timothy,
Oh,
hi.
hi.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, I think we share the share button.
But when I speak, I'll be able to be on screen, so I have equal participation.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe so. We can ask the.
That'd be good because that would help me be in the room since I couldn't be there in person today. Thank you. Can you just like when you're right now on my screen, you're the main box. So if I could be the main, so when I am able to speak. Thank you, Timothy.
Testing, testing. Hello.
We are waiting for one more. We will be starting momentarily. They didn't give me a gavel, but I would like to call Santa Fe County Board of County Commissioners, the governing body, City of Santa Fe special joint meeting to order. This meeting has a few ground rules. This is going to be organized as two separate meetings, one of the Santa Fe County Board of County Commissioners and one of the City of Santa Fe's governing body. We are here at the Board of the county seat here at 102 Grant Street in this beautiful chambers, and I want to welcome our friends and brothers and sisters from the City of Santa Fe into Santa Fe County. So welcome everybody. Can I call our side of the meeting to order, please, and get a roll call?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Lisa Kakari Stone.
Present, online with you, and next to Counselor Cassett, I believe. Thanks. Hi.
Commissioner Bustamante.
Present.
Commissioner Adam Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Hank Hughes.
Present.
And Chair Justin Green.
I'm here.
You have quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Green. On the City of Santa Fe side, Madam City Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Certainly, Mayor. Councilor Barrett.
Here.
Councilor Bustamante.
Here.
Councilor Cassett.
Here.
Councilor Castro.
Presente.
Councilor Chavez. Councilor Faulkner.
Here.
Councilor Figali.
Here.
Councilor Garcia.
Present.
Mayor Garcia.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to do the opening comments for the city of Santa Fe? Oh, we have an
Well,
agenda
start
to
off-
do, so.
Yeah, we first need to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's rise as able, and so we can start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the State Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the
of the
flag,
United States of America,
America,
to the republic
to
for
the
which
republic
it
for which it
stands,
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag
The
of
flag,
state of New
the
Mexico,
state of New Mexico.
Mount United Cultures.
Cheers.
Thank you. And if I may, a land acknowledgement for our Pueblo brothers and sisters and all of the folks that have been stewards of this land for centuries and millennia. We are guests in their land, and we appreciate being stewards at this time. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. We have an approval of an agenda. Commissioners, is there anything you would like to change on this or any comments?
Move to approve the agenda.
We have a motion from Commissioner Johnson,
I second it.
a second from Commissioner Kokari Stone. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the County Commission has an agenda. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda on the city side. Any changes from city staff?
No changes, Mayor.
Any changes from governing body members?
Motion to approve.
We've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam City Clerk, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Certainly, Mayor. Counselor Barrett?
Yes.
Counselor Bustamante?
Yes.
Counselor Cassett?
Yes.
Counselor Castro?
Yes.
Counselor Chavez?
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner?
Yes.
Counselor Figali?
Yes.
Counselor Garcia?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. And so next up on the agenda, we will start alternating comments between the city and the county. And so I'll go ahead and start on the city side. And first and foremost, this is a long time coming. This is nearly a decade in the making. We, as both governing bodies, have been amazing in representing our respective constituencies, but I wholeheartedly believe that when we work together, we're stronger together. And so with that being said, I'm thankful to everybody here in the room with us, not only the respective governing body members, but the staff that surround us. And a special shout out to Commissioner Kokari Stone. I see you on the screen right in front of me. We've had lengthy discussions about this day, and it's finally here. So thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
My hope is that over the coming years, and I do honestly mean years, because this is the first of, at minimum, 8 scheduled meetings that we will be hosting over the next 4 years. The goal is that we begin to form stronger partnerships, build better collaboration, and ultimately have united coordination in regards to meeting the needs of our respective constituencies. The challenges that we both face are common, and I honestly believe that when we set goals that are united, our residents are ultimately going to be the greatest beneficiaries. And so I look forward to the conversations not only that we have today, these are planting the seeds that are going to ultimately grow into a beautiful garden of services, support systems, and ultimately bring about a stronger Santa Fe community. So with that, thank you, everybody, for being willing to participate, being willing to engage, and more importantly, I look forward to everybody's partnership. And so with that, I'll hand it over to Commissioner Green.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Garcia. So I too want to give a big thank you to both the mayor and Commissioner Kokari Stone. You guys got this over the finish line, at least to this point, and I am appreciative of this, and I think we all are. Myself and Commissioner Bustamante started working on something similar to this a few years ago, but it's amazing what a change of administration can do to make these things happen. And so we are appreciative that we have a receptive team at the city to sit with us and to discuss areas of common need and common effort. In general, we already collaborate, right? We have the RACC, we have the Film Office, we have the Bruckman Direct Diversion, we have SWAMA, we have mutual aid agreements, we've got lots of collaboration that happens. But this is where we get our two bodies together to talk about common things. MPO is another example as well. And I love serving on those boards, and so I appreciate all the work that is done collaboratively. But we can always do better, and this is in the spirit of trying to be better as collaborators and teammates for the greater Santa Fe area and Santa Fe County things. I attended the last joint meeting almost 10 years ago, and I sat in this room, and it was great. But the real challenge is to make sure that we walk away from this with hard dates to come back and to make sure that we work on some deliverables for our communities. And that was what was missing at the last meeting. And so I hope we walk away thinking that this was a great idea, this was a great accomplishment, and that we want to actually schedule something sooner rather than later so that we can make real strides for our common constituents. I do want to give a thank you to our managers here, County Manager Schaefer, City Manager Moya. Thank you so much. You guys did a lot of work, and there's some support staff behind here. Sarah, Stephanie, Andrea, there's a whole bunch of you that made this happen, and it's a pretty heavy lift. This doesn't happen very often, and I thank you for getting us here, and thank you, City folks, for coming over and visiting us over in the county, and let's do some great work. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And so what we're going to do is just rotate between councilors and commissioners, and I'm just going to go down the line on my side, starting off with Councilor Garcia.
Muy buenas tardes. Thank you all for putting this together. I think it's amazing, and it's pretty darn good achievement to have every single member of the governing body of the City of Santa Fe and every single member of the Board of County Commissioners to be here, and the staff. I'm just very excited that this is something that's come back. I've always said there's so much to do jointly because we share joint spaces, and we want to thank Chair and Commissioner Green and Mayor Garcia, their leadership, along with, again, City Manager and the County Manager for your work, and everybody else, because this is difficult. It's a big lift to put up meetings like this, and I'm just very happy and glad that everybody is here today. And so I look forward to many more of these so we can collaborate and definitely pinpoint. We know the issues in our community. Sometimes we disagree on how to get there, but we do all know that there are issues, and we all want to work on them together and find a compromise. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to all.
No, well, you got more than we do, so you can keep going, keep going. You go 2 to our 1. So keep going for it. You've started.
I apologize. Look at me already breaking decorum. Good morning, and thank you all for having us here. I think that one thing that's really important is that we're already working together and that we've done a lot of really amazing work. Thank you. Since the beginning of this year, we've been able to talk about many of these issues regarding housing, regarding transit, regarding the future of long-term planning. And so I hope today is the continuation of some really amazing work that we have been doing together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Castro. Commissioner Hughes.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to today's meeting. I know we're doing a lot on homelessness and affordable housing, and I look forward to cooperating on city boundary and regional planning. That's a very important but joint topic, and especially I'm interested in hear how we're going to collaborate on senior services, since that is something my constituents are asking for, and I think we've come to an agreement. So it's all, I look forward to today's meeting, and I thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes.
Councilor Cassett.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I'll be brief, as I know how long it takes when 9 politicians are waxing poetic, and we have 14 here. So thank you again to everybody who's here. I appreciate getting to see my colleagues over at the county. I know I already get to see you all in various capacities, and Commissioner Kakari Stone, great to see you up there on the screen. Really looking forward to getting to work, finding out where there are places that we can work together. And really thank you to staff who put this together and our staff who already do collaborate quite well together. And I think we'll be able to springboard off of those initiatives that already do happen at those staff levels. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be brief as well because I want to spend our time doing the important work that we came here to do. However, Commissioner Hughes, I'm starting the age-friendly work at the city, so I will loop you in so you could be part of that. We're already making those links. Thank you for everyone who put this together. We serve the community of Santa Fe, and so why aren't we doing that together and more collaboratively? So that's the start here. I think that we can widen our net of supports and of efforts to better serve our community with this kind of work. So I'm very honored to be here today, and I look forward to the work ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Commissioner Johnson, pardon me.
I'll take either. Thank you to the mayor and the city council for joining us here, to Chair Green and to Commissioner Kakari Stone for, making sure that we end up in this room. I think this will help us foster stronger relationships. I know many of you, some better, some a little less well, but I think that it's important that we meet, we align initiatives to best serve the city and the county. Our constituents often don't totally understand the difference between us, or if they do, they don't understand the line that divides us. So I think by coming into collaborative conversations or kind of parceling off into working groups on various topics can be very beneficial to all of our constituents. I do want to acknowledge the work, already joint work that was done around the Ariane issue. There's a couple of steps left, but Councilor Castro, Councilor Fagali, Commissioner Kakari Stone, and myself were part of that. The mayor and Chair Green were supportive of these efforts to work jointly, and I think that was a good start, at least a good model for that sort of thing. So thank you for joining us. I'm happy to be here and look forward to getting to work.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll go to Councilor Barrett.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Liz. For those of you I haven't met, there's some familiar faces. Some of you I haven't had the chance to chat with yet, so it's nice to see everybody. And we've already been doing some work together. I know some of us on transit with MPO and talking about daycare, two things that I'm passionate about, so can't wait to work together more. Thanks.
Councilor Fagali.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm glad we were able to collaborate. There's a lot of things that are both city and county issues, parks, libraries, housing, transit, smart growth, environmental issues. And I think it's great that we were able to all be here and work on those together. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Commissioner Bustamante. Sorry, we'll get to you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm grateful that you all are here to meet with all of us, and I'm glad that we're able to all get together. I will say we've known that there have been both successful and not so successful convenings like this. And what I've learned to understand is that the most successful has been where the relationships are made. So I understand from one person, yes, there was a lot of talk, we walked away, nothing happened. But our opportunity is really to foster those relationships that we have with each other and recognizing that together we can get a lot done. I will say from District 3, the part that I share with you is probably the least than any other commissioner. I have from Airport Road on the golf course side all the way to Edgewood and Galisteo, and it's really that part, that city. At the same time, I completely understand that for all of our citizens, and as a branch, the BCC works together. So I'm super grateful for the opportunity to deepen our relationships, know where each other is coming from, and know that we can work together in a positive way to meet the needs of our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bustamante. And now we'll turn to Councilor Bustamante.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to say thank you to everyone who worked so hard to put this together. I've been fortunate. I think I've worked with every one of you on SWAMA at some point or another. But I look forward to exploring ways that we can expand our cooperation and partnership. I know there's been a few ideas bandied about, such as urban farming or a regional opioid response, as well as all the issues that we have listed before us. So I just look forward to continuing and strengthening those relationships. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. And now, Councilor Faulkner.
I'm excited about this. There's a lot of issues, most of them listed in the agenda, like homelessness and housing and public safety, that need to be approached regionally and not in silos. And so I've been wanting to do this for a long time because I think we can get more done as a collective than we would get done in a siloed fashion. So I'm excited to work with all of you. I've worked with most of you, so this is going to be fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. So we now move on to city and staff presentations.
We have Commissioner Kakari Stone, please.
Sorry, Commissioner.
Hi. It's okay. Good afternoon a todos. Mayor Garcia, Chair Green, commissioners, councilors, the public, our amazing city county staff. I'm very excited about today's convening. I wish I could be there and present. I have elderly parents who had really high risk needs this week. Familia primera, as we all say. This is also today is possible by our interim city manager, Chief Moya, by our county manager, and much of the staff that came together to make this successful. We want every voice to count today. And mostly we are all representing Santa Fe. We have diverse districts, but today we come together. Our communities, our comunidades, what they know is when a senior needs a meal, when someone needs childcare, a homeless person that you run into on the trail and they lost their belongings because they went to apply for a job and it was stolen. Wildfire, when the fire hits, our fire chiefs on both sides put things in motion. Our policing, open spaces. This is what our community understands, and it takes the courage to say we're not going to stay in our lanes today. We're going to think about innovation. We're going to think about solutions. So together we do that. Together we're stronger, centering people and centering our environment and our natural world as well, and water. I'm very excited about addressing homelessness together. I think the summit, Mayor Garcia, was a big success. Thank you, and thank you for your vision, your trust in me to start putting this resolution together. I know Councilor Faulkner co-sponsored it as well. Thank you, everyone, our county commissioners who said, let's try this again. Let's make it successful. Thank you all who filled out the survey. I kind of geeked out with putting a questionnaire together, but I appreciate the trust. And I really want to walk out today with some actionable items, and perhaps we can think outside the box. If we're going to tackle homelessness and housing, maybe we can have place-based working groups, because we want to be sure the corridor off of Agua Fria, Airport Road, some of the areas, we finally have a road there. Thank you, Mayor. Airport Road's there. But some of our communities feel left out, and we want to make sure that we're thinking about distributive justice and redistributive justice. So thank you. Let's get to work.
Thank you, Commissioner. So we moving on to the agendas. Our agendas match at this point. City and county staff presentations. We start out with item 2A, background and overarching recommendations being brought to us by interim city manager Moya and county manager Schaefer. Take it away, please.
Thank you, Chair Green and Mayor Garcia. As will be the case, I think, throughout the staff presentations, the city manager and myself will tag off and cover different aspects of this topic. I think the first thing that we wanted to hopefully provide to the governing bodies by way of what we hope is useful advice is starting out by defining what today's meeting is and what success might look like. We certainly approach this from the perspective of this was an organizational meeting, and we think that success could be defined for this organizational meeting as selecting the initial topics upon which the city and county will collaborate and or identifying any foundation laying that's needed to help inform future potential collaboration. Second, we think success is agreeing upon clear next steps, including how any selected area of collaboration will occur, as well as deadlines and concrete outcomes that the governing bodies would like to see. For example, a set of policy recommendations by a date specific. To help potentially guide the selection of initial topics of collaboration, we both looked at survey results from the county commissioners and city councilors who took the survey, and then we also overlaid that with some additional considerations that may prove useful. I think both the city manager and myself, as well as the survey respondents, all expressed a desire for some proof of concept and quick wins. In other words, nothing's going to kill momentum for collaboration quicker than the sense that nothing is happening that's concrete, and that this is for show, or to borrow a phrase that Commissioner Bustamante provided me, it's just performative. Towards that end, I think selecting some good initial topics would be very useful. As we look back over the last joint meeting, some of the topics that were put on the table weren't setting the governing bodies at that time up for success. I think it's important that you look at avoiding duplicating or getting ahead of existing planning or other collaboration efforts that are already underway. We think, as the mayor pointed out, it's also important to keep centered around the fact that this joint resolution contemplates 4 years of collaboration. In other words, it's not necessary to try and do everything everywhere all at once. We're supposed to be at this for 4 years. And then, we also think it's important as well to try and avoid topics that require significant, level setting to be, best well suited for collaboration or direct staff to prepare that level setting in advance of future meetings. Some of those recommendations, frankly, are directly reflective of what we took away from the last effort at joint meetings in June of 2017. Looking at the topics that were put on the table, starting out of the gate, many of those obviously were very contentious, to include things about tax policy, as well as the allocation of scarce, city-county resources. To put a pin in that, we could all come to the table with different areas in which, you could credibly say, well, the city should contribute more to this, or the county should contribute more to that. And I think we would just respectfully suggest that starting out at those topics where you're asking for a reallocation of resources might not be the best way to start this joint collaborative spirit out for success. The meeting in June of 2017 ended without any clear, mutually agreed upon direction as to what was going to happen next. And again, we know what happened next, which is no more joint meetings were had. The survey of city councilors and county commissioners, those results were attached to the exhibit of Brian and Mai's memo. Consistent with what I just went over, the respondents overwhelmingly agreed that the preferred closing move to each joint meeting was a written next step summary, which was consistent with the desire that joint meetings produce a joint work plan with milestones. The survey results, also identified 5 very, very broad topics that, generally speaking, councilors and commissioners, thought should be focused upon over this 4-year collaboration cycle. They included housing and homelessness, supportive housing pipeline, behavioral health and crisis response coordination, land use, growth management, annexation and edge issues, parks, trails, open space, cultural historic resources, water planning, drought resilience, watershed protection, public safety, and community services. So I'm going to turn it over to the city manager to, again, talk about and expound upon some of our recommendations as to how you might want to consider starting to winnow those broad topics down to some initial areas of focus, and also introduce the topics that at the staff level we felt would be useful areas to consider where you want to start this new era of collaboration. Appreciate working with the city manager as well as city staff on these initial collaborative efforts, and look forward to receiving the guidance of the governing bodies as to where we go from here. Thank you.
Manager Schaefer, thank you. Mayor Garcia, Chair Green, commissioners, city councilors. I just want to thank everybody. I'll start by that. Staff put a lot of time and energy into this. I want to thank both sides. We've been working on this for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks now. So I want to thank all staff, everybody here, everybody watching online. So I want to start by that. I just want to focus on recognizing that this is a 4-year plan. I think we don't need to fix it all today, but over the next timelines, you guys tell us what we want next, and we move forward, and let us help you get there. We want to recognize that that a lot of stuff is different. We want to avoid topics that require a significant level of staffing or direct staff to prepare a lot of stuff. Staff already does a lot, so I want to make sure that, let us know what we can do to help or what staff is already doing. So we want to focus on those things. We want to have clear direction in future meetings after this. We think at the end of this, you guys try to give us, me and Manager Schaefer, clear direction on what we need to focus on and where we need to help you guys get to whatever next level staff is. So what I want to do now, and I want to get staff up here as fast as we can, is we picked specific topics we've chose to highlight today. We want to start with potential collaborations on affordable housing programs and homelessness, city boundaries and regional planning, including the need to timely address intimate expiration of our annexation settlements. The next one is leveraging resources to help meet the growing demand for our senior services. So we will have 3 5 to 10 minute meetings that will include county and city staff to highlight these. And then our focus is letting you guys decide to choose one of these to focus on, or whatever your next steps are. So we would like to see that in. For me and the county manager is, at the end of this, the last 5 to 10 minutes, give us clear direction. I would like us to pick a date for the next meeting. It was hard for us to pick a date now, so I think if we could come up with a plan while you're all in the room, that would make me and the county manager's life a little easier than us trying to figure it out and trying to put it all on your calendars. So with that, I'm going to put it less on me and less on Manager Schaefer. We're going to put it more on staff. So I would like to send it back to the chair, and let's get staff up here.
Thank you. So item B is a potential collaboration on affordable housing programs. We have Santa Fe County's Community Development Director, Jonathan Butler, and the city's Affordable Housing Director, Fabiola Chavez. Please take it away, folks. Welcome.
But before we allow to present City Manager Moya, Manager Schaefer, quick housekeeping question. Do we want to have folks ask questions after each presentation? Do you want us to hold? What do you envision?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Green, I think our plan is, let's do the 5-minute presentation. You jump in here when you tell me. Let all 3 presentations happen, and then you guys will tell us what we want to focus on. Because there's no way you could ask all these questions. We would be here forever. So I think our strategy, unless you think differently, is
Okay.
let them happen, let all three presentations happen, then you guys decide as a team, we want to focus on affordable housing and homelessness, then that team will come.
Understandable, so we'll get through.
Yeah, 'cause there's
items
no
B, C,
way-
D, and then we'll move on to item 3, which is the body discussion between.
Yes, there's no way we could pull this off if you guys asked 30 questions.
I just know our team loves to ask questions, so I just
Yeah,
want to.
but I think we need to.
So write them down, and we'll talk
Or
about
focus
them
on what
another
you,
day.
as a team, want to focus on at the end. You guys got to home in.
Take it away. Not really.
There we go. How about that?
Much
That
better.
works. Thank you. Sorry.
problem.
Chairman Green, Mayor Garcia, to both boards, bodies, our commission, and city councilors, and thank you to the managers. Our job and our task is to be as brief as possible to give you all enough space and room to be able to formulate those questions and then bring whomever back you need to be able to bring back. So I appreciate that, Manager Moya. My name is Jonathan Butler again, and the thought processes around affordable housing is that it consistently ranks among the most pressing needs facing both the city and the county. Each jurisdiction currently supports affordable housing through a variety of programs and tools. The thoughts that we have had in having conversations is better collaboration could potentially look like avoiding duplication of efforts. I know Manager Moya has already expressed that, leveraging existing programs by expanding reach and clearly defining roles and responsibilities, making affordable housing development more efficient and effective. I think as Fabiola and I talked, the best thing we could do is just kind of go very quickly through some of the programs that we offer so that you all have an understanding of what the county's offerings and what the city's offerings are. And then we'll leave it to you all at some other point to have a more robust conversation about how we might envision us potentially working more collaboratively together. So we offer a down payment assistance program, and I'm going to frame a few of these programs in this way. With regards to our inclusionary zoning program, some of the programs that we offer then are specific to the impacts and the results related to those inclusionary zoning programs. Explain those programs together. We have a down payment assistance program. We have a foreclosure prevention program. I just gave voice to the inclusionary zoning program. And we also have an affordable home ownership program in which we work through the loans that we provide to home buyers to be able to get into those respective homes. All of those programs are in conjunction and limited specifically to inclusionary zoned product. So they are not, for example, down payment assistance programs that would go throughout anybody in our county who might qualify. I think that's an important distinction to make for you all as you think through ways in which we could potentially collaborate. We also offer what's called the Home Rehabilitation and Energy Efficiency Program. It assists for repairs, weatherization, accessibility, and modifications. And it's currently at the moment administered for us through a third-party partner. We provide developer assistance, which is our largest mechanism to ensure housing production and housing development. And then we also do conduit debt financing and property tax abatement. The county has supported 2 multifamily, all affordable, low-income housing tax credit developments, Cresta Ranch and Turquoise Trail, through conduit financing and property tax abatement. Lastly, we are co-developers of our own affordable housing development. We are co-developing, as you all have heard, and we thank you for your generous support, for the Nueva Sequia property project that we are currently developing 159 units. We also, within the purview of my department, house our housing authority. And so that is a separate engine. We haven't listed that specifically as things that we might talk about in this discussion, but that's our sort of suite of programs. I'll hand it over to Fabiola, and she can talk more about the city's offering.
Thank you, Jonathan. Mr. Mayor, Ms. Chair Green, thank you for having me. It's certainly an honor to be here with you today. Collaboration is so important for our community of Santa Fe, so I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you, councilors and commissioners as well. So the City of Santa Fe offers an affordable housing trust fund with the appropriation of about $3 million each year coming into that fund. Luckily, that has continued. Those appropriations come through the general fund, and so we are thrilled that we have secured those $3 million this year, so that is phenomenal. We also have the Community Development Block Grant. This grant is specifically for nonprofit entities that are focused on people in the community that are making 70% of the area median income or below. So we're able to offer a housing rehab, energy efficiency programs through there. We're also sponsoring a commercial kitchen through YouthWorks. So it's very impactful to our community. Those dollars are administered by HUD, so they tell us how we have to administer those. It's a federal program with a lot of administrative oversight. So we're thrilled that we get about an appropriation of about $600,000 from the Community Development Block Grant from HUD. And we hope that increases with the road to housing. So cross your fingers for that. Then we also have our inclusionary zoning, the Santa Fe Homes program, which really makes the units that we're creating affordable. So single-family dwellings and multifamily housing dwellings will have a affordability period. And we also have the fee in lieu program that runs through our department. Anyone that wants to come into the city of Santa Fe and they want to develop multifamily housing development, they have to pay 15% of that into the fee in lieu or put units into production. Then we also have our community developers who come in and do tract homes for single-family dwellings. If they choose to come into the city of Santa Fe and they want to develop property, we require that they put 20% of their units in production for affordable housing. Then we also have the city land acquisition and development. This particular program is any city-owned property that is sold comes into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Right now, according to our ordinance, Chapter 18, the way that is administered is 50% of the sales go to the Economic Development Department, and the remaining other 50% goes into the Housing Department. So those are our main programs that the City of Santa Fe has in their Affordable Housing Department.
Thank you both very much for that. I think I'll just jump in to say a word about homelessness. I think city and county staff certainly believe that affordable housing is a key factor in the homelessness equation. As you look beyond that, there's a significant array of existing and potential services that are provided or that could be provided to those constituents who are unhoused or at the risk of being unhoused, ranging from prevention to treatment of conditions, contributing to being unhoused, to emergency shelter, to reentry and other services for justice-involved individuals. We believe that those services are not frequently presented as a comprehensive picture, and that doing so would be beneficial, if not necessary, to advancing discussions around, the non-affordable housing components of homelessness. So we recommend that could be a potential initial step to help frame future collaboration around that very broad topic. And that, a request or direction to bring back a landscape analysis, which I believe is consistent with the follow-up that the city is doing from the Mayor's Homelessness Summit, would help really set the stage for future fruitful discussions about where and how to potentially collaborate on that non-affordable housing component of homelessness. Thank you.
Good afternoon, City Council, Board of County Commissioners, and Mayor Garcia and Mr. Chair Green, my apologies. Alexandra Ladd is online virtually, and she is going to share a screen. We have a PowerPoint. We wouldn't be planners without having a PowerPoint, since we are always in front of different governing bodies. So it'll be just one moment while she shares that.
Thanks. Thanks, Heather. Just quickly, before we get started, I wanted to, since I'm not in the room, I wanted to say first hello to all of my former city colleagues and friends. Nice to see all of you, and hello to all the new folks on the council, and Chair Green and members of the commission. Thank you again for giving us this opportunity. In the room, I have the county's land use administrator, Michael Voss, and the planning team lead, Herbert Foster. Michael can speak to any code questions. Herbert can speak to any general plan planning questions. Heather, did you want to introduce any of your team? Sorry.
Yes, thank you. It takes a village in order for us to be able to be effective and do our work well. We have several people on our team who are present. Dan Esquivel is present. He's our planning manager over in the back of the room, as is Joel Cruz Haber. He is the senior planner that is assigned to leading the Land Development Code update project, as well as the general plan project. So he's not busy at all. So we also have Maggie Moore, the assistant director, who could not be present this afternoon, but is going to be listening in. She is part of our team, and we also have a realm of other departments that help to support us in the work that we do. And I don't know if I said my name previously. I'm Heather Lamboy.
Oh, good point, Heather. I'm Alexandra Ladd. All right, so I am sharing screen. Are you all able to see the screen yet?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so we've introduced ourselves. Today, we are here to talk about some regional and jurisdictional land use and planning issues or challenges, opportunities. And because we're planners, we can't resist but look into the future for other opportunities as well. Just to start, we wanted to just touch base about what our statutes tell us is the situation, the relationship between our two entities. This was all laid out in 2008. Heather's going to show a map of the annexation areas and the phases, but what that agreement established was that the city and county had concurrent zoning authority within 2 miles of the city boundary, and also planning and other jurisdiction within 5 miles of the city boundary. And then as a result of the settlement agreement, the city has exclusive land use jurisdiction inside the presumptive city limits. So this includes the areas that were proposed for annexation. And the county has exclusive jurisdiction outside those limits. And as we all know, over time, this has resulted in some confusion and some areas that have been under city jurisdiction but are still technically in the county. So that's what we're here to talk to you all about today. We do have a timeline that sort of shows how these events played out over time, starting in May of 2008, which established the 20-year annexation timeline. And then in the meantime, between then and now, the service boundaries really followed the presumptive city limits for the most part, not exclusively. And we have this area that we call Area 1B, which is the one part that was not annexed. In April 2026, both governing bodies resolved through the referenced resolutions to end the annexation and resolve the city boundary when it comes to Area 1B. The annexation settlement will expire in 2028, and we are here basically to ask you not to let that happen so that we can resolve this jurisdictional issue before then. And Heather, I believe you were going to say something also on this slide.
Yes, thank you, Alexandra. Just as it functions for land use matters, the presumptive city limits means that the city right now issues building permits and manages all sorts of land use actions in that presumptive boundary. With the annexation agreement, when county lands came into the city, then the city honored those development proposals that were granted by the county. So you'll find a lot of that along the airport road corridor. Many of those were county approvals. But as you see redevelopment, then the city is the one that takes responsibility for that land use review process. If you can go to the next slide, please. And so on our City Smart website, the other night I was able to present to the Board of County Commissioners regarding the general plan update. We have mapped the different phases of the annexation as this settlement agreement references. So the larger green areas is phase 2, phase 1. The yellow areas are phase 2, and then the final phase is in that teal color, which is Area 1B, the topic as of recent, relative to whether the city or the county should be managing that area, and the community has had great concern. And the original Santa Fe grant is that sort of box in the upper right that was established when the city was first incorporated. If you could go to the next slide, please.
So
And-
this is, oh, go ahead.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Heather.
No, it's your turn.
So we are here today because the expiration of the annexation settlement agreement, that 20-year agreement that will expire in 2028, it could really impact land use jurisdiction, how both entities make capital investments, as well as public safety and service planning. So we're hoping that the governing bodies will address this expiration extension amendment as soon as possible so that we planners, we love to plan things, how we can continue with our general plan updates and really consider a lot of important issues through a regional lens. When we have 2 entities that were set up by statute to handle these regional planning issues, the Extraterritorial Land Use Commission and the Extraterritorial Land Use Authority. And so we have these frameworks in place to help with the jurisdictional issue, but because Heather and I are planners, we also want these entities we see an opportunity for these entities to help us with some of the larger picture regional planning that both of our organizations have underway.
So the benefits of a coordinated framework, which we're starting to realize already because we have a monthly meeting where the city and county planning teams meet and discuss current projects. Ultimately, we want to provide improved services as local jurisdiction and provide for more efficiency in terms of infrastructure development. We want to protect those sensitive lands and areas of cultural concern in our community and in the county. We would like to manage shared resources well, and those resources could be fiscal in terms of the investments that the city makes and the investments that the county makes. We would focus higher density development in the areas where facilities are that can support it. So one grave concern is suburban sprawl, and that's across the country.
And so how are we more efficient with that? In phase 1 of the Land Development Code update, we've really prioritized infill development because sprawl costs a lot of money to local jurisdictions. And then there's potential additional funding for infrastructure, open space, as well as business development. Like I mentioned, I had the opportunity to brief the Board of County Commissioners on the general plan update. We have made a lot of progress, and right now we are reviewing the frameworks and priorities for the general plan update. Back in 2024, we started this process, and the first step was to assess where we are today as a local jurisdiction. We did not just include the boundaries of the city of Santa Fe. We also included the surrounding area because we can't assume everything is going to remain the same in the next 25 years, the horizon year being the 2050 for this plan. So that data we have shared with county staff so they can have a good understanding. And then we've also vetted this with county staff. There were suggestions made on our map series that as to titles and areas of consideration. So the emphasis is to define an urban area, the area where we expect urban scale growth, and define the rural area where our community wants rural scale development. That helps to reduce development pressure and displacement risk. In our assessment report, we discovered that an area that was most threatened in terms of sprawl and addressed a lot of, or would cause a lot of displacement and an equity focus was the area of Area 1B and also the Agua Fria Village area since we studied everything. We have decided that if the county and the city propose to move forward on the policy development of excluding Area 1B from the city will shift its priority to the close number 2, which is the Airport Boulevard area. And then we can work together as a city and county on addressing the immediate areas around. So because roads don't stop at local jurisdictions as well as people. We're all one community.
The county is also beginning its update of its general plan, the Sustainable Growth Management Plan. We're a few steps behind the city, but we are happy to learn from their fine example of how to do this work. But I wanted to start by talking very quickly about our sustainable development areas. Our Sustainable Growth Management Plan laid out this concept that we would focus growth where we had the infrastructure to support it. And that way we could protect more sensitive areas, areas that did not have easy access to utilities that couldn't support higher density development. So in this way, the county was organized into 3 sustainable development areas. This map shows the areas. First of all, we'll start with not under county jurisdiction. So the gray areas, the city, the purple areas are the tribal lands, and the city of Edgewood is grayed out. So the orange areas right around the city of Santa Fe, those are considered our high growth area, and they're largely contiguous with the city's boundary. The yellow areas are considered the next phase of growth, but not quite prioritized at this time, but likely to grow out sooner than later. And then the SDA 3 are the areas with very limited infrastructure, not likely to grow in any near term at all. But I think what's very important is that this map set out a planning policy priority, which was to, as I said, make use of resources efficiently and focus development where it could be supported. The second way, so in that way, zoning is a tool to help realize that policy goal. The low-hanging fruit for sustainable development is clustering lots and not having as much impermeable pavement, being able to create concentrations of populations to support public transportation, job centers, and other community amenities. So zoning helps. That's a tool to implement that policy. The second tool is investment. So where the county has invested its resources to create and build out infrastructure is reflected largely in this map. So the first step of us revising our SGMP is to look at all of the land use assumptions that went into this map and see how growth has occurred over the last 10 years, whether we need to adjust any of those boundaries, and any other changes we need to make to reflect emerging needs in the meantime. And as Heather and I talked about, well, how do we move this conversation to the next level? You know, we hope that the governing bodies will choose to continue talking about these issues. We think, we have a sneaking suspicion you will. So we are recommending that we address the jurisdictional boundary issue as soon as we can, but also taking advantage of that regional mindset and the regional authorities that we have to really look at some broader planning issues. And with that, I think we're all set, and we will stand back for the next presentation and be on hand to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you, Heather, and thank you, Alex. That was great. Moving on to senior services, please. Maddie and Manuel, please take it away.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Green, County Manager Schaefer, Mayor Garcia, commissioners and councilors. Senior services for both city and county residents started as a joint service provided by the city until it was later bifurcated. Since then, each respective city and county senior service program continues to work together well. It is also not uncommon for seniors to visit and take advantage of both programs at any given time. Both the city and the county participate in the non-metro area agency provider network, which helps fund selected essential services such as congregate services, home delivered meal services, transportation, and other services through a structured framework under the state's Aging and Long-Term Services Department. Both the city and the county also submit senior facilities specific state capital outlay requests each year. Data trends specific to the growing senior population demonstrate the need for greater leveraging of resources, including economic development initiatives from the private sector. Capacity is stretched with both senior services within city and county programs, but with additional support warrants greater regional collaboration on the two current initiatives. Currently, the county contracted with UNM Center of Applied Research and Analysis for fiscal year 26 to conduct a senior survey in order to assess gaps in services and opportunities for areas of services and growth. The county subsequently contracted with the original researcher to assist in the development of a 10-year plan that prioritizes the most vulnerable seniors so the county can work towards an associated funding strategy.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioner Green, councilors, county commissioners. The city of Santa Fe has partnered with has taken on the undertaking of the age-friendly process in which we're looking within city government to see how we can work with all of our other sister divisions, departments, to identify areas where we can make Santa Fe more age-friendly, not only for seniors, but also for basically everybody in the city. So it's been a collaboration that we've been working with the contractor on. We provide services that Maddie mentioned also, to our seniors. The congregate meals programs, we provide over 150,000 meals for both congregate home delivered meals. We provide respite services, homemaker services. We provide we have volunteer services where we have 256 volunteers. We have stations throughout the city where volunteers participate. We have a transportation service. Last year we gave out 21,000 rides to seniors throughout the city of Santa Fe. Our volunteer programs, in our RSVP program, provided 63,000 hours of volunteer service. Our foster grandparent program, 5,600 hours. Our senior companion programs, over 16,000 hours. And a new program, our care companion program, over 654 hours. So all these different programs that we provide, in addition, should help us give more access to both seniors and others in the city of Santa Fe through the age-friendly program.
Excellent. Thank you. Great to hear from these three areas that we were focused on today. Managers, did you have any follow-up ways to?
Commissioner Green, I'm going to let you guys, we're behind schedule, so I'm going to let you guys decide what you want to do and let you guys talk. We've talked for over an hour, so I'm going to let you guys take over from here.
All right. It just felt like minutes.
Minutes.
So, all right. Thank you. Mayor? Anything?
I don't have anything to add. I think let's make the best use of this time and move on to item 3, which is discussion of potential collaboration by governing bodies. I think we had 3 great presentations. There were some recommendations as part of the presentations. That could be an initial starting point where we can start working towards if anybody had any additional thoughts where there can be further collaboration or potential opportunities. Now's the time. I don't see that there's a particular cadence. I think what might be fair is just to have maybe a counselor provide comments, commissioner, and we can just go on in that way. So is there a counselor who would like to go first? Counselor Castro.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all the information. I actually am requesting a little bit of an update, and this might be for Director Lamboy, I'm so sorry, on jurisdiction and in particular, some of the work we did around Area 1B and annexation. Sorry, I'm letting her get up here. There were some directives around jurisdiction in that legislation, and I will defer to my commissioners and counselor to fill in, but we had discussed in those meetings about working towards some jurisdictional definitions. In particular, county manager was very interested in us doing that work. Have we advanced on that at all?
Chair Green, Mayor Garcia, Councilor Castro, we have been working on formulating a response, but we certainly wanted to understand what the priorities were on the governing bodies. And we have mapped out a process, but we just have not implemented as of yet. Alexandra, do you have anything to add?
Councilor Castro and members of the governing bodies, I think our community planning team is working very closely with not only the Agua Fria Village Association, but some of the residents of that area to look at how we tie together the updates of their planning and their overlay district with the work that the governing bodies are going to do. We're kind of hoping we can do it all at once as opposed to many different steps to the process.
Commissioner Johnson. Yeah, Greg, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Mayor, Chair, councilors, and commissioners. I think there was specific direction given relative how to address the status of Area 1B. The city attorney and the county attorney are working on a draft agreement as directed by the governing bodies. I think the issue that Ms. Lamboy and Ms. Ladd focused on is really the overarching issue, which is the entire existing framework expires in 2028, in June of 2028. So while you can wrap up the specific issue of Area 1B, there's that overarching issue of who's going to have jurisdiction where after June, I believe it is, or May, excuse me, of 2028. And I think that the earlier working group did not address because it was not within their scope. And I think that's the area of focus. I hope that clarifies.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Green. Thank you, Mayor Garcia. And thank you for that update. I think, given the 3 presentations in item 2, we have a lot to talk about, and they don't always, intersect with one another perfectly. One thing that I would propose is that because the presentation on the city boundary and regional planning had a distinct recommendation with a time frame in it, we could have a brief discussion about that if needed, and perhaps agree to have a meeting of the ULA and the ULUC by December 2026. And that would give us something to look forward to. As I understand it, the county commission sits fully on that board, and then 5 members, or one of those boards. The city council selects 5 members, and then there's another entity, I can't remember which is which, but 4 and 4. We could have those internal discussions about who sits on those boards, but I think in principle, I would propose that we agree to meet on that topic as respective bodies, by November or December 2026.
Thank you. Having heard this topic from both sides over the years, both a lot of annexation that is somewhat incomplete at the city side, including Area 1B, which ended up having to come back to negotiated to come back to the county. We have, a very specific area that we have to wrap up and put a bow on, which is Area 1B, to Councilor Castro's point and to the folks from that area. And then the extension of the annexation agreement. They're pretty tied together. As a subject, just to focus some thoughts, if there's anybody here that has thoughts on annexation and interest in being on a committee to work on this, is this a priority of our bodies? I know that we were concerned about Area 1B. I know that County Manager Schaefer has highlighted the sunset of the annexation agreement in a year and a half or 2. Have you guys discussed it from your side in the last few months, or is this a priority?
Chair Green, absolutely it is. And so I think Commissioner Johnson's recommendation that we set a deadline of a first convening of the ULAC and the ULA by December. We can, on the city side, we can ensure that we have, because we have not appointed folks on our end, but we can make sure we appoint folks on our end. It is, I believe, 3 city councilors and myself, and then there are 4 county commissioners, and then each respective bodies, planning commissions, and so we can make that commitment happen on our end. And I would put out the request for the city council members. If you're interested in serving on that, send me an email. We'll make that happen. I don't want to waste precious time today discussing dialogue. Who wants to be on that? On the city side, if you're interested in serving on that, send me an email. We'll make sure we get folks appointed. So with that, let's go back to the city side. Councilor Cassett.
Oh, sorry.
Chair Green, Mayor, I think we're getting a little off. I just want to get us back on. So we need to pick a topic. So I think we're just going back and forth. I think we're not going to get anywhere if we don't, you as a body, decide what you want to talk about. Because if you want to do Area 1B, let's do that. But we didn't pick a topic. So which one do you want to do?
So I think we kind of picked a topic of annexation, Area 1B, and a variety of areas of just something that will be focused on the next 3 to 6 months. There's some organizational stuff that the city needs to do. We have our board kind of selected. It's just a question of, and I think that we can line up that in the next few months. Councillor Cassett and Commissioner Kakari Stone both have their hands raised.
But I think to City Manager Moya's point, because I don't think we've picked a topic. I think we've just talked on a topic that folks have spoke on first. So I'm trying to think of what would be the most efficient way for us to say, let's talk about this, or let's talk about this, and that way we can settle in on a topic and begin to hone in versus the first topic we talked about. So,
point of clarification.
Sure.
So I was proposing that we just sort of pledge to meet, and then this topic will be laid to rest for now, because the staff gave pretty coherent, like concrete recommendations. The other topics will require a discussion, but this sort of sets a date, and then we can select from the other two topics. So that was sort of what I was aiming for. Sorry.
Understandable. But I think given the myriad of topics we've got, and I want to make sure again, because I know some folks on the city side have to depart at 3, which is a little under 40 minutes away. And if we can, maybe I'll just throw this out there and y'all can give me a thumbs down if we just say, each person says, I want to talk housing, I want to talk
I may
land.
have a solution for
Sure.
the senior services. I would propose that the age-friendly work that we're doing requires an age-friendly task force. Manuel, if that would be okay with you, I would say that is something that we could just plan on creating a task force with that's joint between the county and city on that work. And then we could bring that forward because that is an actionable step that's going to occur. It requires a task force be in place. So we can just commit to making sure that there's both city and county representation there, and that task force reports back to this larger group, which I think would make it so that we can focus on homelessness and housing.
Just point of information, Mayor, this is on our agenda as an action item, so I believe we can make motions.
Yes. So I think I saw staff with a recommendation of trying to have this figured out by December. Was that, Heather, was that? So a goal of having this stood up by the city and us ready to go at the county within 30 days and scheduling within 30 days, at least to get the stage set to have what are the issues, right? Because sometimes these are really complicated issues and sometimes they're not so complicated. And to get all of us onto a presentation that we understand what the issues, if it's just an easy, let's extend this agreement for 10 more years, that's pretty easy. But I'm sure it's more complicated than that. So I think we probably need to have a few meetings lined up. And so it's a commitment from both sides and people to be in a monthly meeting of ULAC and ULEA for the next 4 months until it goes to our boards in December, if that was Director Lamboy's suggestion there.
Chair Green, it's Alexandra Ladd's and my
And yours,
recommendation that we do convene these bodies quickly. It also includes the Extraterritorial Land Use Commission, which includes commission members from both jurisdictions. And in order to maybe accomplish something by December 2026, it would be good to get that process started. So I would imagine that Mayor Garcia has on his list of things to do to get some counselors who are interested in that process, and I would strongly recommend that we proceed prior to 6 months with those two bodies.
Fabulous.
Can we
Mayor?
continue with the decorum of Counselor Cassett had her hand up and so did I, Chair Green and Mayor Garcia?
Yes,
think we had her. Thank you.
Commissioner Kokari Stone, please go ahead.
Well, I'll defer to Counselor Cassett. She also had her hand up and then I'll go. Thank you.
Are you sure? All right, thank you. So a couple things that I want to make sure we don't do. Sometimes elected officials come in and make things much more complicated for staff. So I don't want to do that. I think there's probably some activities within all of these that are already moving, already being coordinated. There's already meetings happening. I really want to make sure we don't start to get too much into mucking up, kind of programmatic everyday actions, because we do that sometimes. Because we're talking about a 4-year plan, I understand the conversation around picking a topic, but I think with all three of these, there seems to be a different timeline for them. So with the land use, there's a very definitive timeline of some decisions that have to be made. We can move forward with that. As Councilor Chavez just pointed out, we have age-friendly. When it comes to housing and homelessness, this is going to be a more long-term conversation, at least on the governing body side or the city council side. You guys call it governing body? Doesn't matter. On the county commission side, you guys do have fewer members. Within our group, there is enough of us that we could actually divide and conquer on all three of these topics. And so that's where I'm leaning on that. I don't see a reason why, especially with some of these, that they're defined, they have an end date, we know what needs to happen, we know what needs to move. And again, I think housing and homelessness is the more complex, going to take a lot of conversation and time. Real fast for my edification, either Director Ladd or Director Lamboy, what does concurrent zoning even look like? Like, do they just apply to whoever they want to? I mean, how does that even work? That sounds rough.
Director Ladd, did you want to start?
Well, I'm actually mulling over that question. My understanding was that it's jointly agreed to, but it happens sort of within each decision-making body, if that makes sense. But I'm not entirely sure. There's probably a legal definition that is more precise.
Okay, and it sounds like maybe that's something that hasn't happened, but is still on record. So again, with the land use, there are some very, quick defined pieces that we could take a look at.
I think County Manager Schaefer can explain a little bit.
Thank you, Chair, Mayor, Councilor Cassett. And I'd also defer to Marcos, who probably is the other person in the room with lived experience around what concurrent zoning and such looks like. That's actually accomplished for the most part through ALUC and ALUA. And so prior to the annexation settlement agreement that clearly defined exclusive jurisdiction in the city within the presumptive city limits and within the county outside the presumptive city limits, you had a separate set of regulations adopted by the extraterritorial land use authority that applied within the 2 to 5 mile area outside of the city limits. So that's actually how those regulations, as I recall it, were developed and approved. And so for the development community, what have you, you'd have 3 separate set of rules: what applied within the city, what applied within the extraterritorial zoning area, and then what applied in the unincorporated area of the county outside of that extraterritorial zoning area. And Marcos, if I got any of that wrong, please correct me. Thank you.
No, thank you, Manager Schaefer. I agree with what you said. And there's foundational documents are still the annexation settlement agreement, and then there are the ALUC and ALUA ordinances that were passed by these joint bodies.
Thank you both. That's very helpful. Now, is the EZA still relevant? Is it still in existence? Is it still recognized? Or has that been replaced by the annexation agreements?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilor Cassett. Under the annexation settlement agreement that's set to expire in May of 2028, the extraterritorial zone is no longer relevant.
Wonderful.
Again,
Okay.
this county has exclusive jurisdiction outside the presumptive city limits, and the city had exclusive jurisdiction within the presumptive city limits, even before annexation occurred within the presumptive city limits.
Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor and Chair Green.
Commissioner Kokari-Stone?
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone who presented. I think what we have in front of us are three options, some low-hanging fruit, all though emphasize people over boundaries. And I think the low-hanging fruit is directing the Elua Eluk to convene, bring back recommendations before, if not sooner, December 2026. I do want clarification from legal counsel what mutual release claims of jurisdictional boundaries might look like, or maybe that's what could come back sooner. I think regarding prioritization of what we picked today to start picking away at together, I think we can multitask. There's many of us, and both the jurisdictional area 1B and housing and homelessness are regional priorities to set. So we could, with the mayor and the city taking the lead on the homelessness with the summit you had, there's a lot of traction there. You're doing your map analysis, I believe. And I think we could move forward and really forge a stronger county-city partnership on that to tackle that together at the same time. I think we could have two working groups. These are more like action labs with really defined parameters and deliverables. And I think that we could all check in early October to see how progress is going with the Luka Lua as well as housing and homelessness. Let's just do it. And I think what we need to address is not the big outcome. We don't have to fix it all today, but let's focus on small wins. What might be those measurable small wins we can report out in October? And what is the major small wins that we would get in December with these regional planning with Area 1B, especially being in my district, but then the housing homelessness. With regards to senior services, that's regional as well. But I want to add Santa Fe County and the city of Santa Fe, we can be leaders in the nation. And the aging across the lifespan from cradle to death, looking at senior services and childcare and child development as an intersectional familia approach. We do it in silos, and we have opportunities to think about having childcare at the same time as senior services, right? When I went to a national forum at NACO, we were thinking about childcare as economic development, but we're not thinking across generational lines. So I really want to put that out there, that we think creatively in the senior services and supporting Councilor Barrett's comment. And we use the window of opportunity with the governor having universal childcare. And I know Councilor Cassett has been championing this as well. And we really look at having seniors services and childcare integrated. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kokari-Stone. Commissioner Hughes, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to agree with the idea of having a task force to work on senior services. I don't think it's that big a deal that we need to talk about it extensively today, but I do think it's a regional issue because, you know, Rancho Viejo is very close to the city and there's a lot of demand for senior services in that area, the southern end of the city, the county, and I think that would be good to just find out what our joint projects are. In addition to that, I mean, I'm very interested in working on housing and homelessness, and we spent a whole day last month working on that. So I think, you know, we could continue working on that. I don't know if we want to talk about that more today, but I'm certainly very interested in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hughes. Councilor Faulkner? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Hold on one second, Commissioner, just because, again, I want to make sure that we're using the time efficiently. We've got 2 items we want to accomplish before at least one of our colleagues has to leave at 3. And it sounds like there's now consensus building around building these action working groups, which is called for in the resolutions passed by both bodies. I'll one-up Commissioner Kakari Stone's creating 2. I would say create 3 solely on the fact that our governing body maxes out at 4. If we add a 5th, then it requires an Open Meetings Act, and it's a lot easier for us to divide up into 3 groups versus 2, because if it's 2, then somebody gets left out. And I think both the county manager and city manager laid a map in front of us. There's already overlap. There's work going on in these 3 topics that were presented, and we can begin to divvy up our teams into 3 action working groups based on housing, land use, and senior services. We can then continue on to developing broader action working groups on other topics, but this begins the momentum of these 3 topics. Some of these 3 topics have recommended actions by December 2026. We can absolutely work towards achieving those goals. Meanwhile, in connection, maybe schedule, and that's the next agenda item, is schedule the next meeting and work with the teams to determine what presentations would be on the next meeting, and we begin to just, again, coordinate these action working groups to address these critical topics, and then it becomes this cyclical pattern where we're getting updates from action working groups, we're creating them, and we're working with our respective teams to get things done together. So before, again, I want to be cognizant of the time. So with that, who had their hand up on the city side? Councillor Faulkner.
So are we saying that we will send you an email telling you which one of these 3 categories we want to work on?
We do that. I'm proposing we do that today.
Oh, that's what I was going to propose.
Who's going to be on these action working groups today. As Councillor Castro mentioned, we can pass motions. It would be through respective bodies, and we create these 3 action working groups today. And these 3 action working groups have some guidance provided in these staff reports, whether they want to move forward with meeting these deadlines or not. But the next step is we establish our next meeting. That can provide framework for these action working groups to either meet the goals of meeting the recommendations by the next date or December as requested. So hopefully that's clarity, Councillor Faulkner.
Yeah, that clears it up for me. I'm ready to say what committees I want to be on, what groups. I don't know if everybody else is.
So do we have
I think the
flip chart or
council's ready.
something we can just, where we can maybe start saying who would like to be on what group? And I don't know. I mean, again, we've got 20 minutes left before. Yes, Councillor Barrett.
Sorry, didn't want to interrupt, but I like that Commissioner Kakari Stone was kind of looking holistically at age-friendly, including child-friendly or family-friendly, maybe somehow under community services, because I do agree that we are being recognized nationally. We've gone up in the Democratic primary, as you guys probably heard, with this money coming down for daycare and other initiatives that we have going on. So just looking at that more holistically, like I don't know what to call it. I know a lot of it falls under our community services, but you know, family-friendly, child-friendly, age, however we want to name it, maybe like a little more expansive. Thanks.
Okay, Commissioner.
So I hear senior, or let's expand that to all ages, right? The edges of the spectrum, of the age spectrum. I hear annexation as a singular topic, including Area 1B as a specific area, but just extension of that. That's a secondary topic. I hear homelessness. That's really a topic under its own and in a very acute way. And then housing, it's related, but it's a bigger, more complicated. And so I bring that up because housing right now, we build housing left and right? You see it happening in the county, you see it happening in the city. But I hear complaints from our constituents about what we're building, right? Some of it isn't affordable, some of it is just people tell me, in their opinion, ugly. People are saying it's the wrong size. And so, one of the areas that I've been advocating over on the county side is for us to put together really a housing summit. Not a homelessness summit. That was done, and that has some ongoing work to do, and it feeds into the housing. But we've discovered, with our own affordable housing group, we've cleaned up our data, and we went from a need of 5,000 units to a need of 1,600 units just by cleaning up the data, right? And then within that data, if you build the wrong types of houses, it's a supply and demand and knowing what product mix you need. And so we need to get data from our respective organizations, from the city, from the county, from regional partners, to understand what is needed, and then we can go apply that at our general plans and then apply that in our strategic investments. And I don't think that we're certainly not ready here today, but it is a priority, I think, for all of us to deal with housing affordability, affordable housing, and ending homelessness. And that's all a spectrum and a continuum of how we do that. And that's definitely a subject I bet you all of us care about. Now, we can't all be in the room unless that's the topic of our next joint meeting all together, but we do have a lot of work to do before that to clean up our data, to know what we need to be building, and then to present it to both of our bodies to take some meaningful action. Councillor Faulkner.
So I think a lot of what we're discussing is better served to be discussed in these working groups. I would say one quick way to do this is just bring up the topic, say it's housing or homelessness, go down the line in each governing body, and whoever wants to be part of that can raise their hand or say they're going to be part of it, because we only have 20 minutes left, and we still have to put the working groups together. Just a suggestion.
I have my hand up.
And
I
Commissioner
can't see it.
Kokari-Stone, I do see your hand up.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Garcia. Thank you, Chair Green. I'm just going to make a motion. It seems like we need to make a motion to clarify the top 3 topics, and when we'll come back and convene as a midterm, and then in December, and then we can vote on the working groups. So I heard something very distinct and clear, that we have a regional approach. And number 1, we have a working group dedicated to housing. Homelessness could be included under that's housing. We have a second working group dedicated to land use, and a third to senior services and childcare. That this motion also includes a progress report and a convening of both jurisdictional governing bodies by the early October, with a final meeting in December to report out results and recommendations. That's the motion I'm making, that we could vote on, and then we could decide on who's going to be on what working group. So I don't know where the chair and the mayor stand on this.
I'll second it for discussion. And so
we're 2 separate bodies, so
sorry.
I'll second it for discussion with our body, and you can make a motion for.
We're one big family.
Yes,
right?
we are. So just to clarify, Commissioner Kokari-Stone, when you talk about regional issues, or I think specifically it has to do with Area 1B and the annexation agreement, not so much as growth in general. That might be more in the housing side of things, but.
So thank you, Chair Green. Let me just clarify. Regional is an approach, an overarching framework. So when we talk about housing, we're talking about regional approach from Pojoaque to Commissioner Bustamante's district all the way down to Edgewood. When we talk about land use, we're also taking a regional approach. So that's what my proposal was. No specifics. Thank you.
Let's go to
Commissioner Hughes?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we change the committee to housing and homelessness, not just housing, including homelessness. That's my only change, housing and homelessness.
So we run, just as a logistics things for our group, we run into a 2-person quorum, 3-person quorum. So I am going to recommend that we divide those into 2 items. No? So that we can divide and conquer, like housing as a general topic and homelessness as another topic? No? Because otherwise there's just 2 of us sitting in a room doing this.
Let me explain why. Thank you so much, Chair Green. I appreciate you doing that. And they do need dedicated efforts. But when we were at the Homeless Summit, Commissioner Hughes and I, the whole day, and the working groups and presentations, it was clear that the housing inventory really affects homelessness. And so I think if we're going to tackle something, we've got 4 years. We already have a summit going on, and next year in 2027, we could look at their housing matrix assessment that the city's doing. We could include that as a priority. But I would say housing homelessness as a topic together, just as Commissioner Hughes addressed, and let's see what the working group comes up with.
Commissioner, so I guess question and clarification, and I'm hoping we're going to begin to assign folks today, so we would need to amend your motion. But thank you for getting the discussion started. I would recommend we start to assign folks to these committees. And so, I mean, I would, yes. No, I understand. But we can get through their process and we can mimic the exact same process on our end. And so, given that the quorum issues, county can only have 2, city can have 4. Is the county okay with 4 counselors and 2 county commissioners?
Well, I think we could just publicize the meetings as a public meeting, and then we can have a quorum. Is that not correct?
Okay, that's fine with us. I mean,
Hold on. County Manager Schaefer? He's pulling his hair
Thank
out.
you, Chair and Mr. Mayor. You could, for discussion, but that just needs to be a conscious decision, that's all. If you're going
part of
to
it
have,
becomes a public meeting, and then discussion is much more complicated, potentially, to put out ideas in a public meeting.
and you're also limited as to where you can meet then from the Board of County Commissioners side, as we can only meet in certain designated buildings. So again, it's the pleasure of the governing bodies as to what you think is most effective, and how do you want to move forward with these action working groups.
Mr. Mayor and Chair, what if we selected 2 from the commission and 3 from the council? I think that works with your math for 3 different working groups. And then we'll have 1 person who maybe ends up on 2 committees from the commission side. But, I mean, this is the disadvantage of being a smaller body.
Hey, great recommendation. So with that, we'll take suggestions. I mean, I'll put my name in the hat on housing and homelessness just because we had the summit.
I mean, this, yeah.
Why don't we do this so it's fair? So city side, now county side, we'll go back and forth.
I mean, we're all interested in housing at this, and so housing, I understand that they do overlap. We work together well, but homelessness is an acute issue and is a very specific part of that. Where quote unquote affordable housing fits in that is a whole nother part of this. But housing is a big spectrum, and it has to do with growth, it has to do with water, it has to do with a whole bunch of things. Affordable housing and homelessness is a segment in that edge.
Chair Green, did you need a clarification from the commissioners with regard to whether or not we would go with the one that was suggested between Commissioner Hughes and Kakari Stone, and you're trying to have us rethink those being separate?
I'm trying to get to solutions by having 2 task force working similarly, but in different edges of the same topic.
Okay, if I may, apologies, I've taken the floor, but I had my hand up for a long time.
Sure.
I didn't really, but it's okay.
Okay.
There is an issue that came up with the city council that I'm very interested in, that goes along the lines of this particular argument with regard to age-friendly task force. And that has to do with housing and not being housed. I look at that and I think of early childhood and senior centers, but another big thing that we have are who's really taking care of the 30-somethings in this city. They can't afford to live here. So when we talk about all these multiple groups, this could be the first of starting to split them up. And I don't know that that's the most efficient way to use our time, except to have this addressed as one solid, recognizing that there are a number of artifacts that would be into those arguments and conversations. They're all very related. So that's just my take on it, and I'm looking forward to learning more about the concept of age-friendly and early childhood senior, and again, there's that middle group that we we can't house here. Because that inability to house that age group is a homelessness issue, and it has to do with housing. So that is my case for wanting to keep them together in this conversation.
Yeah, I think that was why I made the suggestion I'll be allowed to have a quorum for that, because there's obviously more than two of us who are interested. And we have to follow whatever rules that is as to where we meet.
I think let's call the question. Sorry. Let's call the question on the county side, and then we can move to the city. Right. I think we're close to just, Commissioner Kakaristan made a motion and
I second it.
And Commissioner Green seconded it. You, Chair.
Okay, we have a question called here. We have 3 committees, one for housing and homelessness, one for senior and age-friendly aspects, and one to growth and regional planning, including annexation. Those 3 groups, we'll figure out who serves on them later. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hang
Aye.
on.
Any opposed?
I think,
Oh, sorry.
Chair Green, I'm sorry. I heard a friendly amendment from Commissioner Hughes because it kind of changes the number who serves on it, that it'd be an open meeting for housing homelessness.
I'll take that as friendly. That's fine. That's
Okay, so we're
So you-
voting on that with that amendment.
So it would be 3 on the commission.
or 4 or 5. You know.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
to
sir.
match the
Yes,
city.
Commissioner. Yes, Commissioner, yes.
So basically, do we think that we could have our next meeting, whether you all have all 9 of you or whether we have all 5 of us, as housing homelessness, as a presentation, almost like a housing and homelessness summit with some proposals before us, because we will have it as an open meeting. You guys might as well have it as an open meeting at that point. The more the merrier. Can we get staff and consultants and all sorts of recommendations before us and ideas before us in 30, 60, 90 days, right? Whatever schedule we think is appropriate to get some action moving on this one important subject. Is that what you're?
Yeah, and then let's let the city vote on it.
Okay. Okay, well, we have a motion from Commissioner Kakaristan, a second by myself, to have those 3 groups, one of which would be an open meeting by the county commission. All in favor, say aye.
Well, wait a minute.
Oh, wait.
I think the land use is already an open meeting.
Yes.
Lula is already an open meeting.
Whether it uses EULA but homelessness is not part of that. Oh, yeah, right. So the regional meeting
Any
is-
of them may be a regional meeting.
Yes.
Open meeting.
All right. We got a lot of open meetings. Let's do it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we got a busy couple of months. Pressure's on.
So quick question for clarification on the motion made, just so we know what we're discussing on the city side. The approval just made was to form these 3 working groups: housing, which incorporates homelessness, land use, and seniors and children. Those are the 3 working groups that can accommodate membership that is more than a quorum, that would meet a quorum potentially.
Yes.
On the county side. So, Councilor Chavez.
Sorry, and I don't mean to throw everything off, but it really sounds like we just want to keep meeting like this to discuss housing and homelessness. And then we have a task force for the other 2 that report back to this body. Because if they're going to be in open meetings and we're going to be in open meetings, but then going to come back and try to mesh things, that's going to be counterproductive in my opinion. What makes sense is we commit, we're all interested in housing and homelessness. That seems to be a consistent priority, so we agree to operate with that being our priority as this body. And then there's 2 task force, whoever wants to jump on, maybe we just request participation, first come, first serve, or something along those lines with our managers. And those task force will report back to this body, since this body will be set having discussions on homelessness and housing. That is completely different than what you guys just did. I apologize, but To me, it seems like that discussion kind of led to, creating that framework.
Yeah, I think that was kind of where it was going, but the framework goes to, we would have another joint meeting focused on housing and homelessness. We would have a ULAC meeting to deal with regional planning, because that's the body that deals with that. And then we have a senior and age-friendly one that might not be a full quorum sort of situation. Go ahead.
Sorry, Counselor.
Commissioner Bustamante.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Chair. Does that mean we don't want to have the list? They were preparing the paper to put the names under each column. I don't mind not being on a column. I mean, there are certain things that I work very hard towards within these areas. I can't say I have any one particular that's a forte, but I do have interest. So if we were still, we've just voted on the county side to approve these 3 topics and see who wants to sign up with those 3 topics, or we just do what you just said, but we still haven't gotten to the point that you had asked for in getting the rows, the columns, and see who wants to work within each area.
And for clarification on your question, Commissioner, I mean, I'm still leaning towards smaller groups, because as exhibited by both the county manager and city manager, to get us all in the same room, it's an act. And I understand we all want to work on everything. This is where we will have these convenings at minimum twice a year, where everybody will be able to work on everything. I think if we, whether it's housing and homelessness or any other topic, if we wait to speak on that as a body, we're not going to get anywhere. I think I'm happy to pull myself away if that means not meeting as a body, solely because this is a critical issue that is impacting our community. And if we're going to task our teams with trying to convene monthly, because I would say at minimum, these groups would need to meet monthly, at minimum. And to do that, good luck. I look at both the city manager and they're not happy right now with us trying to coordinate that. So,
I mean,
I would say we just try to figure out who wants to sit on these. We will meet again. We can figure out and morph as we go. Let's just get some momentum going on some topics. So,
I mean, that was my I'll get right to you in 2 seconds, Commissioner Koukarian. That was why I thought that housing and homelessness is too big of a singular topic, and it can be divided into 2 or 3 subtopics to achieve one macro topic of housing and homelessness. Homelessness is 3 or 4 actions within the homeless spectrum. Housing is 3 or 4 actions just within that don't even address homelessness. And that was the reason why I was thinking that because of the complications of our body, that we could divide it into 2. I'm okay if we want to glam them together, but I think there's a little bit of an opportunity to have 2 groups focused on the subject, understanding that they're going to mesh together in a meeting in October, but that we could have sub-working groups between now and then. Commissioner Koukarian?
Yes, thank you. I just want to support what the mayor said and also reiterate what you just shared, Chair Green. The way the resolution reads was to avoid a full pulling together of both the governing bodies for every issue. It's action working groups. It would also have inclusive community participation, evidence-informed analysis, practical strategies, and outcomes, action-oriented, and you can't get that with a large group of people in the room. So I'm willing to, I don't need to be on all 3, but I think we need to focus on that and go with that as a vision and see how it works through December. We could always tweak this resolution to make sure we're being able to achieve what we can. So I just want to add that. Thanks.
So I'm going to pose this question. Hold on one second, Councilor Cassidy. This might be where you're going. The governing body has made a decision to begin the process of planning a housing summit similar to the homeless summit. We've already got folks beginning the process. If we were to divide housing up, housing and homeless, we can now have 4 groups. We've identified city folks that are already going to take that baton and run with it. We can incorporate the county and do a much broader housing summit. Then anybody else that wants to participate in a homeless working group, land use working group, and then the seniors and child care working group. I know it adds one more, but some of the work on housing is already beginning on our end in regards to Summit, and I heard Summit talk earlier. So with that, Councillor Cassett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I was just saying, in the interest of time, it's already 3 o'clock. If we can quickly decide on the topics, and let's do group assignments later, and we can vote on them in our respective bodies at our next meetings and come together, because I know that I have things afterwards, many of our colleagues have, and we have a whole room of staff that we're holding up. So whatever the groups are, I say let's figure those out, let's decide on them, and then let's leave assignments to our own bodies and come back and report back by our next meeting.
Okay, so with that being said, in the time, I'll make a motion for a housing working group, homelessness working group, land use working group, and seniors and child care working group.
Second.
4 working groups. Okay, so any discussion on our end? Madam City Clerk, can we get a roll call vote?
I'm sorry to interject, Mr. Mayor, but again, as we are wrapping up, just for clarity, these would be, again, working groups with less than a quorum of both governing bodies.
Correct.
And I apologize for our county colleagues, but that would mean a new motion would
Yes.
need to be made on your end. So sorry about that. Madam City Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councillor Bustamante.
Yes.
Councillor Cassett.
Yes.
Councillor Castro.
Yes.
Councillor Chavez.
Yes.
Councillor Faulkner.
Yes.
Councillor Figali.
Yes.
Councillor Garcia.
Yes.
Councillor Barrett.
Yes.
Motion passed, Mayor.
Okay, I'll hand it off to our county colleagues.
Okay, excellent. So,
Mr. Chair?
yes.
I'll make a motion to rescind the previous motion and to match the city's past motion.
Okay.
I second it.
Excellent. We have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, a second from Commissioner Kokari Stone. We lost Commissioner Bustamante, but all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hope Commissioner Bustamante comes back soon.
Okay, so with that, I think let's go ahead and move on to item B. I mean, I think probably the most efficient way is to maybe send out a doodle poll, and I don't think we'll decide on a time today. It's not possible. So if I'll make a motion that the city manager sends out a doodle poll that we reconvene in October. We'll send out a date that works best, and then the city manager and county manager can work together to finalize that date.
Commissioner Bustamante, we had a new motion that broke it into 4 groups. Did you want to add your vote to that? And that was in the affirmative? Thank you.
Okay, so to restate my motion, I'll make a motion to direct the city manager to conduct a doodle poll of the governing body members to have an additional joint city-county meeting in October 2026.
Second.
We got a second? Any discussion? Okay, Madam City Clerk, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Certainly, Mayor. Councillor Cassett.
Yes.
Councillor Castro.
Yes.
Councillor Chavez.
Yes.
Councillor Faulkner.
Yes.
Councillor Figali.
Yes.
Councillor Garcia.
Yes.
Councillor Barrett.
Yes.
Councillor Bustamante.
Yes.
Motion passed, Mayor.
Fabulous. And for our part, Santa Fe County will do an identical we don't use a doodle poll, but we'll figure out how to coordinate a meeting in the October timeframe. So I will make a motion that Santa Fe County will reconvene to update and find progress and action items in the October timeframe.
Second.
We have a motion by myself, a second by, from Commissioner Johnson. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none. Great job, everybody. Thank you. Councilor Barrett, what's up?
Sorry, can I ask a follow-up question? So you're going to send out a poll. We're going to sign up for a committee. We're going to get a date on that. Okay, and moving forward from there. Okay.
And we will work on working groups in the meantime, both in terms of sign up from your side, sign up from our side, scheduling staff and support consultants if necessary on the 4 topics that we talked about.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, I think we've completed our first agenda. Good job, everybody.
Felicidades.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Rob. A thank you to staff and apologies to staff because this is a lot of work. And so, you know, I do want to offer staff as much support as possible in terms of if there are requests needed to support this. This is new work that wasn't in our budget a week ago when we passed our budgets. So if I will say to to the Santa Fe County side, if we need support money for this, let's not be bashful and let's make sure, let's try to keep it minimal, but we don't want to overwork staff in the, we've got an ambitious timeline here.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion from Commissioner Johnson to adjourn from the county side.
I second it.
We got a motion from a second from Commissioner Bustamante. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? This was so much fun. I thought we would all oppose that. All right. Thank you, everybody. We are done on our side.
And on the city side, we don't need a motion, so have a good afternoon, everybody. And I'm going to ask each respective body member to not all leave. I'd like to take a group photo of us for our first meeting. So
Yes, thank you.
I guess we'll go in front of the dais over here.
I'll be in the background.
Yes.
Perfect.
That's the reason why I want you on the dais. So hang on, Commissioner.